Today is not about shooting at sunset. With no clouds in the sky, sunset's pointless. But there's some lovely clouds over here. Good evening everyone, thanks for joining me again. Today is the 5th of September. Nothing particularly significant about that, except that as we're now into September, we're starting to get out of the time of year that I find the most difficult. At the end of August, the Spanish national holidays finish, so a number of tourists have already now left the area. But we've still got, if you like, foreign tourists in the area at the moment. And over the last few weeks I've been picking my locations based upon ideally where I can avoid there being lots of people. Now today I've come back up to the mountain again, and I keep coming back here because it's a beautiful place and there's so many different things, so many different potential things to photograph. Now, when I first came up here, there were some quite nice clouds around, but I knew they weren't going to last. I did stop off and do a little bit of time lapse. And then while I was there, I thought, I'll do a selfie, why not? Something a bit different, not something I do all the time. But now it's actually time to try and find some shots before the sun gets too low, because today is not about shooting at sunset. With no clouds in the sky, sunset's pointless. It's as the sun gets lower in the last half an hour, 45 minutes, which is kind of where we are now. And I'm heading up along the trail along the side of the mountain to see what I can find. Let's see if we can get some shots, shall we? What we've got is a ridge line up here, and the top of it is getting light from over that way. The sun is kind of up there at the moment, so the light's coming in, and what it's doing is it's putting light on the surfaces of the ridge that are facing that way, and the rest of it's in shadow, and it makes us a nice rugged set of contrasts. So in terms of the setup, I have the 70 to 200 lens on at about 104, 105 millimeters. I'm angled up a long way to fit it in. I've got just the top of the ridge line in the frame. I've got a lot of blue sky up above, but this is going to be cropped 16 by 9, maybe even 2 to 1. So I've got f11. I'm focused on the ridge itself. ISO 64. 1/25 of a second, 2-second timer. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, I've got another shot set up here. I've got this remains of a tree, hollowed out, and got some nice textures in the bark, and then it's got a bit where the bark's been stripped off, shadows coming across, and then a trail going up, and then we got the mountain up here. I'm shooting this at 16mm on the 16-35 lens, f11, 1/30th of a second, ISO 64. I'm going to focus on the mountain. There's a few wispy clouds coming out around the mountain, which looks nice. Yeah, that's quite nice. Okay, we're going to be losing the sun soon. I've stopped off for one more shot, which I've had to shoot fairly quickly. In fact, I've just shot it already because there was a little bit of wispy cloud kind of up between the big jagged, or the big sort of towering rock there and the rest of the ridge, and I wanted to shoot it while that was still there. We shot at f11, 1/10th of a second. Not sure if it's going to be any good or not, but what I'm now wondering is if we might have some shots in another direction where there is still a bit of cloud remaining. We shall see. Okay, the sun's now dipped behind the mountains over there, so we've lost all direct light on the scene. There's pretty much nothing cloud-wise over the mountains, which is kind of in front of me, behind you guys. But there's some lovely clouds over here, and there's a little cluster of trees on top of a hill. And I'm just trying for a simple composition with the cluster of trees in the bottom of the frame and the clouds in the top. I've got the 70-200 lens on, and I'm all the way out at 200mm. f11, focusing on the trees. So this shot is very definitely about the clouds. So it's going to be underexposed in Lightroom because I really only want the trees in silhouette, because this is really about the sky, and the colours are hopefully going to get even stronger over the next 5-10 minutes. So I'm just going to hang on and see what happens with this. So as usual, I'm going to expose the image for processing. So that means I'm going to expose with the histogram as far to the right as I can without blowing highlights. And at the moment that's f11 and 1/4 of a second. But just to get a feel for what it's going to look like underexposed, I'm going to do another one, and I'm going to underexpose it by, well, I'm going to take it down to 1/13th of a second, and let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that could look quite nice. Could be interesting. Okay, so hung in there for a little bit, waiting to see what would happen with those clouds. Didn't really kick off as much as I was hoping, but there might have been one shot there that's worth sharing. We'll see. Sun's completely down now. I've got half an hour ish of walking back to the car, maybe 40 minutes, so might as well try and get back there before it gets too dark. So that's it, I'm going to call this a video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have and you want to see more, then consider subscribing. If you've already subscribed, thank you very much, I appreciate that. Likes and shares, much appreciated and very helpful, and I'd love it if you'd leave a comment down below. I love to read them, and I always respond. So that's it, the video's over, I'm going home, and I'll just say until the next video, thank you very much for watching. Bye.